Hi, this is Jim, and we're going to take a look at the two stocks we're in the premium stock newsletter. Now, CSCO, this is the daily chart. It went above the 10-day bands. Full bars above the bands means the trend's up and is bullish, means the buyers are in control. It put in a trend spotter buy right here, so trend spotter's good. The 20 and 50 and 200-day moving averages are up on the daily time frame, so that's good. So basically, it's just in an uptrend, and we just hopped aboard. Well, the gap up too was a big thing. When it gaps up like that, chances are it's going to go higher. Again, gaps sometimes can fail, but that looked like a good one just because the trend's up on all different time frames and all our indicators are looking good. So if everything's going up and then it gaps up, that's usually a bullish gap that is probably going to keep going. Here's Cisco on the weekly trend. Put in a trend spotter by here, and then bars above the bands are pointing up. The lower band support on the weekly time frame, that's all bullish, and then it took off to the upside, and this is where we got in here, and I just think it's going to keep going higher. The 20 crossed the 50 here, and then they both crossed the 200 on the weekly time frame. This was a sideways consolidation and then a blast off, and we went long, and we're just giving a little nibble and see if it goes our way. If it doesn't, we'll get out. Monthly time frame for CSCO. That's looking good too. It looks like it's coming out of a base here, kind of a spacing action. The trend spotter is it hasn't really officially put in a buy on the monthly time frame, but that's actually probably good because that means we're getting in at a pretty early entry point. There's still a black dot here and a black dot here, and then if we have a bullish week this week, then this top black dot will fall off, and that will be an official buy signal. What trend spotter does is when it goes on a buy, it puts a black dot above and below for one bar. For some reason, that's part of the way it works, and then the bar where the black dot on one side or the other drops off, that's the buy signal. So this looks like it's just going on a buy signal. You can see the moving averages. The 200 day, or it would be the 200 month, is actually up, and then these moving averages are starting to move higher. Now, the monthly time frame is going to lag because the daily is the leader, and then weekly, and then monthly. So it's not unusual that everything isn't lined up on the monthly chart right now. Okay, DTLK. That one, I think all three time frames are pretty much lined up on that one. Cisco, the monthly, isn't quite lined up yet, but again, that's okay because we're going by the other charts too. Now, monthly, bars above the bands, that's a sign of strength. Trend spotter put in a buy right in here. The bottom band has been support all the way up. I mean, it just works like magic. Now it's above the bands here, that's a sign of strength. If you draw a trend line across here, it looks like it's breaking through to the upside on the monthly time frame. The 20 is above the 50, and it's spreading apart from each other, so that means the momentum is increasing. So the monthly time frame for DTLK looks good. Weekly time frame for DTLK, above the bands. Trend spotter buy on the weekly, came down and tested the lower band, consolidating. I think it's going to hit higher. Trend spotter still on a buy. The 20 is above the 50, is above the 200 weekly. So all systems are go for the upside for DTLK on the weekly time frame. And then the daily chart looks good. Now this is another one that had both of them. The stocks we're in had gaps. Now this is a little closer up view of DTLK. It's like a couple months. We just went on a trend spotter buy signal here. It went above the bands here, which whenever it starts putting in full bars above the bands, that means the trend has changed to up. Now it doesn't always work, but that's what it means. You know, that's what we're looking for it to mean. And then when it comes down and tests this lower band right in here, that's just a pull back against the trend, and now it's heading higher again. And now the 50-day moving averages is up. It's down a little. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to come down just a little bit, but that's just because of sideways consolidation. And the 20 went below the 50 again. We've talked about this in some other mentoring lessons. When they make these counter trend corrections, these moving averages will do that. But the 200's up, and now it's above the 20, and the 20's starting to rise, and the 20's just going above the 50. So it looks like it's coming out of a consolidation right now. If we go a little farther back on the chart, I'll go like 6 months back here instead of 2.5 months. And we had this big gap back here. And the thing about that is if you look at it made the big bull move, and then look right where it found support, right at the gap. And that's the way they do it. And then that's support, and since that held, that tells us that that's a good gap. And again, it could always fail, but right now we just got to believe what we're seeing. And right now that gap was support. It's come up here, it's made a base, and it's heading higher. Now it could come back down here and make a double bottom. That's why I in the newsletter I put the stop below this bar here, which was below the gap, because I figure if this trade is good, it should not take out the low of this gap here, since it's already found support there. So this could be like making a double bottom. I don't think it's going to do that right now, since we're on a trend spotter buy and everything's looking higher. But it could come back down and make a double bottom, and I still think this will be a good trade. So I gave this one a little room to work, and that's why sometimes you give them a little room to work. So thanks for listening to my video, and we'll just see how these play out, and we'll take another look at them in the future. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.